Hey everybody, welcome to Grumpy Acres with the other side of the homestead. And today we're going to go ahead and start talking about chicken pot pies. It's a super simple recipe. What I did is I just went ahead and I seasoned our Grumpy Acres chicken and then threw some butter in there and I'm going to roast it. It's frozen, so I'm probably going to go about an hour and I'll check it and then maybe go a little bit longer if needed. And then as soon as that's done, I'm going to let that cool, shred it, get all of that chicken off, and then I'll show you the next step. Alright, when it's done, I'll see you in a little bit. Alright everybody, now we're back. So, sorry it took a little bit longer than I thought it was going to. I know a lot of people pay attention to the background, so if you're looking at the clock, it's been a lot longer. When I had to run to town, we've got our live coming up tomorrow, so I wanted to check the post office box. There was nothing there. I'll have to do it again tomorrow. And then before we go live, because I had somebody ask me if we got something, so I want to make sure I'm keeping an eye on that. And then Goats and Sheep decided to take a tour of everything and taste a lot of tasty things. So anyway, we're back. And so what I've done, I roasted my chicken, so we've got that all roasted, it's cooling, and there. Then I have cut, I'm doing a larger recipe, and you'll see these a lot. Feel free to cut these back. As long as you got the general idea, that's all you need. So I've got my stalks of celery, got from the garden. I've got my carrots all chopped up, my onions chopped up. I did 3 onions. I think I did like 6 carrots, and then I just did a bunch of broccoli. When I went in there, I just made sure that I cut a bunch out of there. And then I got some basil and some sage out of the kitchen garden, and then we'll use pepper, and then I'll put some salt. You're also going to need a white wine for this, and if you don't get enough broth, it's still hot. If you don't get enough broth, which actually would be easier just to bring you to this. So see, if you don't get enough broth, which that's not good enough for me because I need more for the ingredients that we're doing, so I will be adding more broth to this. And so then what I'm going to do, the next step, I'm going to reserve this broth that I got right here. Okay. And then you can see the remnants that are left in there. We want that. That's extra seasoning. So, of course we want it. So I'm just going to reserve. See, this was 1 cup of broth is what I was able to reserve. So we've got that, and we're going to turn on the oven. Gosh, it smells so good. I'm going to do a high heat, and then I'm going to just start pouring my ingredients in. So I went ahead and in my food processor is how I chopped all this up because there was just so much. So that's something to keep in mind too. So if you have some arthritis or pains in your hands or they cramp, I know a lot of people have a lot of stuff going on and you're just like, gosh, I really love to cook, but man, you know, it just hurts so much. Use your food processor. Nobody cares. Alright, so we've got this done. Well, it's not done. We got this in. And so what we're doing here is we're just going to try to get everything translucent. And so I use this word a lot. But what we're wanting is and we're scraping the bottom, trying to get all that season in here, and we're just going to let these sweat out a little bit. So we'll do that, and then we'll be right back. Alright, so now we have everything sweated out, so now's the time. Alright, so now's the time that we're going to go ahead and we're going to add, I forgot to mention we needed to add some garlic. So I minced some garlic and I just put this in there. And then I'm coming over and I'm grabbing my sage and basil. We're just going to throw that on in there. Okay. stir that on that and start smelling what I need to get in there. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some pepper. That's 1, 2, about 1, and it was probably 1.5 tablespoons. But I like spicy. So then crushed red pepper. Get some of that on in there. Call that maybe about 2 teaspoons. A little bit of salt, that Redmond salt. Just go in. About 1/4 teaspoon there. Let's see, I didn't go back the other way. Close that out. And do I want some of that? No. Okay, we're going to call that good. Give this a stir again. Now we're going to get crazy with it. So, I've got, for me, this is 2 cups of white wine. Turn my heat down a little bit. I'm going to go down to a medium simmer. I added a little more broth to this, so I've got 4 cups of broth. I'm going to add that on in there. So this is where we're at with that. So you've got kind of a soupy consistency, right? Well, here's where it gets good. All right, so we've got this at a medium simmer. I'm going to go ahead, now that the heat is tolerable, and I'm going to turn it back up a little bit. So we're going to a medium heat. Now this is all done on a propane stove. So if you have gas, it'll work the same way. And if you have electric, just play with it a little bit. You'll start to learn, kind of like if you're making a gravy, right? You need that to have kind of a boil, and then you can add your flour. And when you add your flour to thicken it, keep stirring it, getting it in there. And then, let's see, then you'll need to turn it down a little bit, but watch it because you want it to thicken up, okay? Because this is the roux that we're going to use for the chicken pot pie. All right, so now, let's see. All right, so I'm just going to sprinkle this on in there, and I got a 1/2 cup flour. Mix this really well. Now, you could always make a bunch of this and then put it in the freezer, or I would even suggest canning it up. Then you don't have to make it every time that you want something, or every time you want a chicken pot pie. So I think I'm going to do a little bit more flour. Turn my heat right back up again. So I'm just going to play with this. This is another 1/2 cup, and I'm just going to play with this a little bit until I get it to where I want it. You want it to be thick, kind of like a cream of chicken soup. And don't worry, if you don't like wine, don't worry about it. You're cooking it so long that the heat is going to take that alcohol out of that wine. It just adds a nice flavor. And I did a Sauvignon Blanc. I love cooking with a Sauvignon. Alright, now I need to get the heat back down, and I'm going to go to a low, the lowest setting I've got, a low simmer. Okay. Can you see how thick that is? It's not soupy anymore. Nice and thick. That's what we're looking for. Alright, easy peasy. Okay, we're going to just let that simmer a little bit more while we cut up our chicken. So now, you can hear me kicking buckets out of the way. I kick buckets out of the way because that's how we store everything, 5-gallon buckets. But, well, not everything, I can stuff. So now we're just going to pull apart and shred our chicken, pull the bones out. Ooh, it's still hot. Here. Grumpy Acres farm birds have so much on them. So I take the fat off and reserve the meat. The fat will go to the dogs. If you don't have dogs, feed it back to your chickens. Sorry guys, this is still a little hot. If you see me jumping around, that's why. Oh goodness, but you can't stand the heat. Get out the kitchen. Man, I thought I left it sit long enough. I did not. I needed to cool my hands down a little bit, guys. Sorry about that. And my face. Alright, now you just go through, get everything into bite-sized pieces. Make sure I'm checking on that. Everybody's in. I'm going to stir everything up. Okay. I got one more thing. Wait a minute. Go ahead and turn the heat off now. Alright, now I'm going to add some peas. I'm going to add about 1 pound to this. Peas are done last. Those are only going to cook in the pot pie in the oven. Okay, now let me break everything out and we'll get set up for assembly. Alright, so as you can see, I've transferred all of the pot pie into here. Nice, thick, steady, and now it's time to put the pastry dough on here. So the oven's preheated to 400 degrees. If you don't know how to make pastry dough, no big deal. You can buy it, and then you know, if you don't want to do that, use biscuits or bread dough. You know, whatever. Be creative with it. Make it yours. But you want to roll it out a bit. I can already see I'm going to have a little bit of an issue. So what do I want to do here? I'm going to take that down, and I'm going to put that on there. Move this back. I'm going to So then this is what we've got. This is the result. If you like, you could go ahead and you could brush this with some butter, some melted butter. I'm going to do that. And so I just melt it and then just brush it right on very lightly and then throw it in the oven, 400 degrees. We'll check it in 35 minutes. It's going to take somewhere between 40 minutes to do in my oven. So that's what we're going to do, and we'll show you the finished product after it's done. All right. This is the finished product. So let's see if I can get a good angle on that. Right here. All right, so let's hoping to get a good angle. I think that's about what I can get. Yeah, so here's our finished pot pie. Now this is what Garen calls a casserole, but anyway, we had that discussion with Hacks from the Homestead because everybody was talking about lasagna, and anyway, everybody's got a casserole. So this is it, and let's go ahead and cut it open and see what it looks like. And it smells amazing. I wish I had smell-o-vision in here, but this is awesome. So let's check it out. All right, so let's go ahead and cut this open. Oops. Well, I don't know about you, but in my book, that beats a Marie Callender pie anytime. So anyway, it looks good. It smells delicious, and we'll taste it. G's he's been working on getting furniture moved to the bedroom that we finished up. So I do need to feed him. I know it's late. His stomach's not going to tolerate it, but anyway, it is what it is. So I'm going to get him fed, and here's my challenge to you guys. So take any recipe, take anything that you love, make it yours, and just experiment, have fun in the kitchen. Figure out how to get as much off the land as you possibly can. Remember, and I had this issue today. I was actually I had to run up to town, and I was actually thinking about something. I was like, man, you know, I hate paying this much money for milk, and if I'm going to do that, and I'm going to pay that much money, I'm going to go to my neighbor, and I'm going to go get some raw cow's milk. So I'm just going to start doing that. I don't have to support this craziness anymore. One of the other things that I want to challenge you guys to is to start in your own neighborhood and figure out how you can get from other homesteaders, ranchers, farmers directly without having to run to Walmart or the grocery store or whatever. Sometimes we have stuff they don't even have. So there's that. So anyway, guys, all right, until next time, go live a life done free.
Thanks, Milo.